I call the member for Kingsford Smith.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. On the 3rd of July, our Prime Minister stated, and I quote, "I guess our country owes its existence to a form of foreign investment by the British government in the then unsettled or scarcely settled Great Southland," unquote. Tonight, I wish to explain why the Prime Minister's comments are wrong, are out of touch and are disrespectful to Aboriginal people in my community and throughout Australia. Deputy Speaker, Kingsford Smith is blessed with some magnificent coastline and some of Australia's most famous beaches. One of those is the beautiful Coogee Beach. The name Coogee is said to derive from the Aboriginal word Coogee, which means the smell of the seaweed drying in the Bidjigal language, a reference to decaying seaweed and kelp that throughout history and still to this day regularly washes up on Coogee Beach. The place name of this beautiful little beach and the suburb that surrounds it indicates a settled Aboriginal term for that locality, a name, a reference that clearly predates English colonisation and is evidence of a well-established language in that area. Deputy Speaker, if one travels down the coast of my electorate to the next beach, you encounter Maroubra, with its powerful surf and at times dangerous rips. The name of Maroubra, it's believed, derives from Maroubera, the name of a leader of the Aboriginal community who lived at a beach a few miles from Coogee at the time of colonisation. Indeed, Deputy Speaker, the bay in which the English first set foot on the Great Southland to establish a colony, and which remarkably, only a matter of days later, the French entered, Botany Bay, has a local Aboriginal name, Kamay, and the wonderful suburb surrounding that of La Perouse in the south of my electorate is known as Kirawal in local Aboriginal language. These were, and in some cases still are, settled, customary, locally known terms to describe places in our community in a language that is older than the English language. How dare the Prime Minister deny that custom, that heritage, that culture and that language that has existed in our community for thousands of years and has been passed through generations, accepted, respected, adopted as names of our community suburbs, beaches and bays. I recognise that Australia was settled prior to English colonisation, and Aboriginal culture, language and heritage is proof of this. We have the longest continuing culture in the world. We should be proud of this, not deny it. I was fortunate to be born and bred in Maroubra, as was my father, my grandfather and my great-grandfather. 4 generations of family connection make that my home. But that is not a patch on the family connections of local Aboriginal families whose relatives have been living in our community for 7,000 years. Countless generations of people who have developed, nurtured, passed on customs, language, laws and heritage that importantly still exists today, and which our community celebrated last week as part of NAIDOC Week. These are principles that not only still exist today, but have been recognised by the High Court of Australia through the Mabo decision, have been enshrined in Australia's native title laws and should be recognised in the Australian Constitution. This is why our Prime Minister was wrong when he stated our land was not settled prior to English investment. I pay tribute to the Aboriginal families and people of our community, whose ancestors have called our area their home for thousands of years, whose language has given us our cherished suburb names, and whose heritage and customs we respect. You deserve more from our nation's Prime Minister.